watching India Today Global with me, Ishita Mitra. It's Thursday afternoon in the Indian capital. Let's take a look at what's making news around the world. Starting with the big news from Iran, Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh's assassination in Tehran has raised fears of a regional conflict involving Iran and its proxies. Hamas says that Haniyeh was killed by a missile that hit him directly in a state guest house where he was residing. Now, blaming Israel for the attack, Hamas has said that Haniyeh's killing would take Gaza war to new dimensions and have major repercussions. Further, promising to retaliate, Iran has declared 3 days of national mourning and also given an order to strike Israel, according to reports. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that it would make no comment on the killing. However, adding that it is prepared for any scenario and threat that would come towards Israel. Next up, North Korea has said that it wants to reopen nuclear talks with the United States if Donald Trump is re-elected as a president. North is working to devise a new negotiating strategy, according to a senior North Korean diplomat who recently defected to South Korea. He said in his first international interview that North Korea has set Russia, the US and Japan as its top foreign policy priorities for this year and beyond. Trump engaged in fiery brinkmanship and unprecedented diplomacy with North Korea during his previous term. Elections are scheduled to be held in November in the United States. Moving to the United States now, where political tempers are rising, Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has now accused Harris of changing her racial identity for political gains. He said, and I quote, that Kamala was always of Indian origin and she was only promoting her Indian heritage. I didn't even know that she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. Harris has hit back, saying that it's the same old show of divisiveness and disrespect. The American people deserve better. Continuing with the US, the man accused of being the mastermind behind the 9/11 attacks, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, and 2 of his aides have now agreed to plead guilty. A US official has said that plea details almost certainly involve guilty pleas in exchange for taking the death penalty off the table. All 3 men have been in US custody since 2003. Mohammed is an Al-Qaeda terrorist accused by the US of being the principal architect behind the September 11 attacks. In another news, a Canadian warship passed through the Taiwan Strait in what Ottawa called a commitment to free and open Indo-Pacific. This has obviously drawn a rebuke from China. Now, Beijing has expressed, saying that naval exercise undermines peace in the region. China has also said that its troops are on high alert at all times and are ready to respond to any threat and provocation. Meanwhile, Ottawa said that it's increasing the presence of Royal Canadian Navy in the Indo-Pacific according to its strategy. China claims sovereignty over the self-ruled Taiwan and asserts jurisdiction over the nearly 180-kilometer wide waterway dividing the 2 sides, while Taiwan and US consider the strait as an international waterway. On to Myanmar now. The country's junta has extended the state of emergency by 6 months again, delaying the fresh polls that it has promised to hold as it battles opposition to its coup. Now, the Southeast Asian nation has been in turmoil since the February of 2021. The military takeover extended a 10-year experiment with democracy and sparked massive protest and a crackdown on dissent. 3.5 years later now, the junta is struggling to crush widespread opposition. In fact, it has recently suffered a series of stunning losses to an alliance of ethnic minority armed groups. Some more news from Asia. China and India have agreed to speed up negotiations around the border issue and continue to maintain peace and tranquility in the area. This is according to China's foreign ministry. Officials from both the countries held the 30th meeting of China-India Border Affairs Consultation and Coordination Working Mechanism in New Delhi on Thursday. This focused on hashing out a long simmering dispute over their shared Himalayan border. Much of it is poorly demarcated. Moving to Russia-Ukraine war now, Ukraine claims its air defense forces repelled one of Russia's largest long-range drone attacks of the year overnight. Now, Kyiv says it shot about 89 drones launched at the capital city and the surrounding regions. Following the attack, Ukrainian president urged its Western allies for more weapons, saying that it needs additional arms to defend its skies. This comes after Kyiv received its first F-16 fighter jets that it has been urging Western allies for long. US has been training Ukrainian pilots for using these weapons. Some news from the UK now. Police arrested protesters near 10 Downing Street as Britain faced a second night of demonstrations. This comes after the deaths of 3 young girls in a knife attack at a dance class in Southport. A large number of police wearing helmets formed a barrier around protesters who earlier threw flares and smoke canisters towards 10 Downing. More than 50 officers were injured on Tuesday night in violent clashes. This as a 17-year-old male suspect is in police custody currently on the suspicion of murder and attempted murder after the bloody rampage. So that's it for today. Stay tuned to India Today Global for more such updates.